Have you ever caught yourself letting your ego control you? It could have been during an argument where you wouldn't give in, or when you didn't take advice because you thought you were right. We've all experienced this, haven't we? Today, we're exploring a timeless yet always pertinent subject: how our ego can be our downfall. And there's no better guide for this than Seneca, the old Stoic philosopher. His thoughts act like a mirror, showing us aspects of ourselves that we usually ignore. I want to tell a story. Some time ago, I was really into a project I was working on. I believed my method was the best. A coworker offered a different idea, but I didn't listen. I thought, what does he know? It turned out he knew a lot. The project faced problems exactly where he warned it would. My pride, my desire to be correct, had made me ignore his valuable advice. It reminds me of a well-known saying: we often reject an idea simply because we don't like the way it's presented. That's not a Seneca quote, but it's a sentiment he would surely agree with. This might be a simple tale, but it clearly shows how our ego can be our biggest obstacle, blocking our path to growth and success. Ego is a tiny word, but it has a big impact. Essentially, it's how we view our own importance, that inner voice telling us, I'm the best, I'm always right. A bit of ego is normal and human, but when it gets too big, problems arise. Ego appears when we always want to win an argument, can't admit we're wrong, or try to make others look bad to boost ourselves. It's like seeing the world through colored glasses, where we always seem like the hero, the smart one, never wrong. The tricky part is that it often feels right or even good. Yet this self-deception has downsides: damaged relationships, lost chances, and limited personal growth. Let's consider Seneca, a major figure in Stoic philosophy. Stoicism, a Greek philosophy, focuses on self-discipline, wisdom, and virtue. Seneca was deeply interested in human nature and its flaws. Regarding ego, he had much to say. He saw ego as something that misguides us, making us prisoners of our desires and fears, and a block to wisdom and virtue. For Seneca, letting ego rule us stops us from learning, understanding others, and forming deep connections. He believed true strength lies in being humble, recognizing our weaknesses, and staying open to learning and changing. To Seneca, beating ego is about more than just inner peace. It's about building a life of meaningful relationships and genuine wisdom. Let's explore some of Seneca's important ideas about ego. He once mentioned, "We suffer more in our thoughts than in reality." This highlights how our ego can warp our view of things. It exaggerates our fears, desires, and pains, causing us to overreact compared to what's actually happening. It's as if we're in a drama where we control and star in the show, often making things seem bigger than they are. Seneca also wisely said, "Real joy is enjoying the present without worrying too much about the future." Our ego often gets us stuck in worrying about what if and if only scenarios. This traps us in chasing after future achievements or regretting past errors, preventing us from appreciating the present. He encourages us to break free from this pattern and find happiness in the present. Summarizing Seneca's thoughts, he's advising us to control our ego, to see things more clearly and live better. This means basing our self-view on reality, not on the exaggerated image created by our ego. Now, consider ego's role in today's world. On social media, for instance, it's like a battleground where likes and followers can wrongly boost our self-esteem. In the workplace, decisions driven by ego can create harmful environments, hindering teamwork and innovation. In personal relationships, ego often leads to conflicts and misunderstandings, as it makes us less likely to apologize or compromise. For personal development, an unchecked ego stops us from growing. It keeps us from accepting feedback, being open to new ideas, or leaving our comfort zones. Understand the effect of ego in today's world. Consider the rise and fall of various public figures. Often their downfall isn't due to a lack of skill or chances, but rather their failure to control their ego. Their stories serve as a warning about the dangers of letting ego drive our actions, affecting us both personally and professionally. So, how do we address the issue of ego, as Seneca would advise? Here are some practical steps. 1. Start with self-awareness. Regularly question yourself, especially when making decisions or responding to situations, by asking, "Is this my ego speaking?" This question can be a vital tool for stopping and thinking things through. 2. Adopt a humble attitude. Understand that everyone has something valuable to offer. Keep the mindset of a learner, always open to new knowledge and personal development. 3. Cultivate a habit of gratitude. Ego struggles to thrive in a heart filled with thankfulness. Each day, make a note of 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small, like a nice cup of coffee or a friendly gesture from someone. This habit helps shift your focus from desires to appreciations. 4. Perform kind deeds without expecting applause. This encourages you to find your worth in your actions, rather than in others' approval. What are the advantages? Managing your ego can result in deeper relationships, improved decision-making, and a more satisfying life, both personally and professionally. It's about finding a balance where your self-image is based on humility and being open to different ideas. So, what's the takeaway? While ego is a normal part of our mind, it can mislead us, obscure our thinking, and block our progress. Seneca's wisdom offers an enduring roadmap for identifying and conquering the impact of ego in our lives. Embracing Seneca's wisdom, we learn valuable lessons about controlling our ego and improving our daily interactions. His teachings encourage us to constantly examine our behavior and thoughts. This self-reflection is crucial as it helps us recognize when our ego is trying to take over. By being aware of this, we can steer ourselves back on a more thoughtful and considerate path. Seneca also places great emphasis on empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When we actively try to see things from another person's perspective, our ego naturally steps back. This shift is significant. It helps us build stronger, more genuine relationships. Instead of always trying to prove we're right, we begin to value the bond we have with others, leading to fewer conflicts and a deeper sense of connection. Additionally, Seneca's philosophy highlights the importance of restraint in both our words and actions. He suggests that sometimes the wisest course of action is to hold back, to not immediately react. This pause is powerful. It gives us time to think about the consequences of our actions and whether they're driven by a genuine response or merely by our ego trying to assert itself. By practicing restraint, we allow ourselves the opportunity to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, reducing the chance of regrets later. Further, Seneca advocates for the cultivation of a lifestyle that prioritizes learning and growth over winning or being seen as superior. He encourages us to adopt a learner's mindset, where every experience, whether good or bad, is viewed as an opportunity to learn something new. This approach helps us to stay humble and keeps our ego in check, as we're constantly reminded that there's always more to learn and room for improvement. In line with this, Seneca underscores the value of acknowledging our own limitations and mistakes. Admitting that we don't have all the answers or that we were wrong in certain instances is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It shows a willingness to grow and evolve, which is often hindered by an overbearing ego. This admission not only fosters personal growth, but also earns respect from others, as it demonstrates honesty and vulnerability. Moreover, Seneca's teachings encourage us to practice gratitude. By focusing on what we have and appreciating the small joys of life, we shift our perspective from a state of wanting and comparison, often fueled by ego, to one of contentment and appreciation. This simple yet profound practice has the power to transform our outlook on life, making us more resilient to the trappings of ego. Lastly, Seneca reminds us of the importance of kindness and generosity without the expectation of recognition or reward. When we do good simply for the sake of it, not for applause or acknowledgement, we ground our sense of self-worth in our character and actions, not in external validation. This not only diminishes the influence of ego, but also contributes to a more altruistic and compassionate society. In summary, Seneca's approach to managing ego involves a blend of self-awareness, empathy, restraint, continuous learning, humility, gratitude, and selfless kindness. These principles, when practiced consistently, lead to a life of deeper understanding, meaningful connections, and true personal fulfillment, free from the distortions and limitations of an unchecked ego. Let's try something. Think about times when your pride or need to be right showed up. How did it change your choices, your friends, or how you grow? Try one of the ideas we talked about, like being aware of yourself, being humble, being thankful, or being kind, for a week. See what happens in your day. Tell us what you think and what happened in the comments. We can all learn from each other. Beating pride is a long road, and we're all on it together. If you liked this video, hit like, share it, and subscribe for more. Keep learning and stay down to earth. Until next time.